to the channel. So happy to have you if you're a subscriber and you're returning. If you're new here, just as equally happy that you're here. Hope you learned something. I'm actually a transformation coach. I help people change their lives, step into their power, understand their self-worth. And we talk about on this channel a lot of emotion-based things, but we add logic into it so that you can better understand yourself, better understand your life, the people around you, and have better connections. So I know every time we think about negative emotions, we think I shouldn't be having that, and you are a little bit right about that, but negative emotions are actually really good for you. We're gonna talk you through exactly why that is, and you can also eliminate your negative thoughts. So let's get into it. So let's talk about exactly what a negative thought is. I'll explain it biologically and I'll explain it emotionally. So biologically, a negative thought is a stress-inducing hormone. It's a hormone, it's a thought that increases our cortisol levels, which is the stress hormone, and thought that puts us into a state of defense or fear because it's now triggered a core belief. Emotionally, it's a thought that puts us in a state of feeling sad, angry, betrayed, disrespected, that we then ruminate and ruminate and ruminate on. So the reason why we're constantly going on and on about this in our mind is because there's injustice. Injustice defined is the result of an action being undeserving. And so we're constantly trying to sort that out in our minds of how or why or when. Perfect example is if you sort of have a little battle in your head sometimes after you've had a conflict with somebody and you're constantly trying to go back and forth to sort that out. That is a perfect example of the enigma that I'm talking about. If you're in the age range between 25 to 35, 73% of you will overthink, 80% of our thoughts are actually negative, and 95% of them are repetitive. So they're constantly reoccurring. We have 6,200 thoughts a day, which is exhausting if you think about it, per day. So let's talk about cortisol and our negative thoughts and how they correlate. Anytime we have high levels of cortisol, which is our stress hormone, it's essentially the hormone that's released into our body to prepare us for potential danger. As we move through life, we have different experiences, we meet different people, and we create this personalized story in our minds of how the world works based on what our experiences are. Anytime we have a negative thought, it's essentially us trying to get ahead of danger, to get in defense mode, or get us ready to sort of protect ourselves if we see anything that might be similar to what we've experienced in the past. When we have high cortisol levels, that's exactly when our overthinking comes about, and we can't think or see clearly because we're in a state of defense, which then puts us in fight or flight. How can you actually lower levels of cortisol in your body so that you can be in a more relaxed state and reprogram the way that you're thinking so you're not constantly thinking negatively? Number one is to get enough sleep. When you don't get enough sleep, your cortisol levels will increase, which will constantly put you on high alert, make you hypervigilant. There's actually a study done where people who are depressed, they noticed that they had a magnesium deficiency. When you have that, your body's unable to actually regulate the levels of cortisol in your body, so it does increase, which again causes you to be on high alert. Last thing that I would say is to get outside. Anytime you're in isolation, your levels of cortisol will naturally increase, which will just put you in a more depressive state and negative thinking. So why exactly are our negative thoughts good for us? They're good for us because they highlight our fears and they highlight our core beliefs of ourselves, of what we feel that we deserve, of how we feel about ourselves and about other people, and the story that we've sort of created in our minds. Anytime we're having a negative thought, it's really good to, number one, acknowledge that you're having a negative thought. Second is notice how it makes you feel and what that core thought or belief is in your head. It could be, I can't trust anybody, or I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I don't deserve this. And then once you have that acknowledgement of that core fear, it's really important to remove that and reshift your focus. So a great way to do that, acknowledge the core belief that you're feeling, and then think to yourself, or you can say it out loud, cancel, delete. Leave right here, cancel, delete, and that will allow you to sort of do a mental reset so you can then remove that from your mind, reshift your focus. Once you've done all of the things that I said earlier, you can think of the best case scenario. What would you want to happen in a perfect world, regardless of how it could happen or when it could happen? Just think of what your perfect scenario of the situation is that you would want to happen. I hope that this helped. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe, and have a great day. I'll see you in the next video.